This is Erica White with Revealed, and today I am so excited to have a phenomenal woman of the gospel here with me today. She's an anointed publisher. She is a woman of the word, and it's none other than Dr. Teresa Hairston. Dr. Hairston, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for welcoming us into your home, and just to be with you, to sit down and chit chat with you, to see what's going on in gospel today. We thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
God bless you. Dr. Teresa, take us to the beginning of gospel today. We see this lovely magazine. We see all of the high-profile ministers and preachers and teachers of the gospel that you display so often. But take us back to the beginning stages of gospel today and let us know what that was like.
Woo, back in 1989, I was divorced, 3 small children, working 2 jobs, just barely able to make ends meet. And you know what? I knew God was telling me to publish something. I knew that He had put that inclination in me, and I knew it was time to do it. Mm-hmm. And I saw a need to connect people with information, and I started with a 4-page newsletter, invested $300, and I mean, every step of the way had to just believe God. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing, but it just began to happen.
Now, when we look at gospel today and we see the beautiful magazine today, tell us how you felt when you published your first issue.
Well, when I first started the publication, it was a 4-page newsletter, and I tell people all the time, it didn't look any better than your Sunday morning bulletin.
Okay.
And I mean, but you know, it's like when you bring that baby home from the hospital,
yes,
and you think, oh, this is the most beautiful baby, mm-hmm. and you just rock that baby, and you show everybody, and people are looking at that baby and say, well, I know when he gets some hair, it's going to look right, you know, like a little person. But you know, you have to start believing in your baby. Yes. And you have to believe that that baby's going to grow up, and that baby's going to be strong, going to be beautiful, going to be something that the world is going to be changed by. So I just started believing in my baby.
That's awesome. Now, you actually have sat down with some of the great names in gospel, T.D. Jakes, Paul Morton, Bishop Harold Ray. Tell us about the time you gave those invitations and they accepted the call to be a part of the ministry. What was going through your mind, and how did that make you feel?
Well, you know, back then, all of us were just starting, and we were doing things, and, you know, you don't realize many times who you're bumping up against. Mm. But, you know, I remember when I went to West Virginia and first met Bishop Jakes, and, you know, he just had something, that thing, it was so special, and he was so gifted. And mm-hmm. he would speak, and he would be in an arena full of people, thousands of people, but he had a way of making you feel like he just came there to speak to you.
Yes.
And that has just, of course, amplified, and he's all over the world now. Bishop Paul Morton, when he first went into the Superdome, that wasn't the first time we met. We met back when he was talking about, you know, I want Baptist people to embrace the fullness of the Holy Spirit, and I want them to understand that they can speak in tongues. They can, you know, they can be Baptist and then have this other gifting. Yes. And so he changed the culture. And I realized that God was aligning me with people that would change the culture. Mm. That's what we're called to do. Yes. To go into the world, to make disciples, to change the culture.
Yes. Now you're getting right into where I wanted you to go, because we know you at Gospel Heritage. We know you from Gospel Today, but so often we haven't seen the ministry that God is birthing in your life. Talk to us about the call into ministry.
Well, Gospel Today started in 1989, and of course we're almost 20 years old. Gospel Heritage started, well, a few years later, 1990 something, and now we're going actually to Columbia, South Carolina, February 25th and 26th of 2009. But the preached ministry, I mean, how can I say that when God calls you, sometimes it blows your mind what He will use you to do. I started with just a really life-changing situation. It was a devastating situation where I thought I was just going to lose it all, give up on everything. Mm-hmm. And God flipped the script on me. And from the misery, I was birthed a ministry in me. And I began to see that everything that I had been through was for God to use me to bring somebody else out of their misery, somebody else out of their pain, and to speak to them and let them know there's vision even in the valley. You can be in a valley experience, and God will speak to you and give you a new vision. Yes. And that's what God did with me. I was in the valley. I was depressed. I was in an emotional, just a mess. And God spoke vision to me. He said, listen, when you rise up from this, if you have the courage to get up, I'm going to give you something that's going to blow your mind. And people are going to be transformed because of the vision that I'm going to birth in you. That's going to give you new life. It's going to give you a new dimension of power, a new dimension of strength. So I just thank God. And, you know, the ministry now is to bring people to another level of living.
Yes.
So that's what I do.
Well, we thank God for him.